Hello world, welcome back to Meg's Minutes. I'm so happy to be back. I promise you I'm going to be more consistent this time. So this is part 2 of my YouTube hiatus. Sorry, excuse me, that was bothering me. Anyway, this is part 2 of my YouTube hiatus, and part 1 was where I filmed, and it had been a year and a half since I had filmed at that particular point, and that was August of 2020. And then it's been another year and a half. What in the world was I thinking? Oh my goodness. Let me catch you up. So at the end of the video, at the end of, well, I guess it was the middle of August of 2020, I was making plans to actually start a business. And I've started multiple businesses, and I won't say that I actually failed at those businesses. I like to say that I actually just stopped doing them because they weren't failures. I just didn't have time to do it. So I just kind of gave up. I just gave up on them. And I really feel like had I kept going, I'd have been a whole lot farther along than I am today. Anyway, at that particular time, of course, it was the end of 2020 summertime, and I call it COVID summer. And we were getting ready to go back to school. So not only had I started a business, I had just moved. So I had to get my kids registered in the new school district because I changed cities. I started this business, which I was super excited about. I got a couple of orders, and it was great. But the biggest problem was us going back into the school year at the beginning of the 2020-2021 school year. So we actually were virtual the first 3 weeks of that school year, which was last school year, not this current school year. And after going 3 weeks virtual, the district that I work for decided that they had this grand idea to do hybrid teaching. Now, hybrid teaching, I guess, kind of means different things to different school districts. Our school district felt that hybrid teaching was where we would actually teach in person and virtual at the same exact time, which was crazy because how can you teach in class and in person at the same time for 90-minute classes? It was crazy. Like, it was super duper stressful. We had to create 2 different lesson plans to engage the students who decided to show up versus the students who were virtual. It was a headache. On top of that, I switched from coaching basketball to coaching cross country. So cross country is a fall sport, and at the beginning of the season, we had all of these different COVID protocols, and most people have cross country practice first thing in the morning. So of course, that is what I did as well. So I'm coaching cross country, trying to run a business, teaching hybrid classes, and it was just crazy. I eventually gave up on YouTube again because with all of that, I didn't have time to film, and I gave up on my business. I was really doing very, very well for, I'd say, like the first 2.5 months. But then like halfway through October, I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy. It was just crazy. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put this on the back burner. I didn't want to quit altogether. So I kept paying for my Shopify website, and I just put it on the back burner. So in addition to all of the stuff that I had going on, my twins wanted to play volleyball. They had never played volleyball before ever in their entire lives. So of course, I was there to support. They were actually still going to school virtually. They just had to go to school for their athletic period, which was the last class of the day. One of the twins transitioned right from volleyball into basketball, into track. So basically she played sports year round. And of course, I'm a single parent, and I want to be there for all of my kids' stuff. and something had to give. And it wasn't going to be my kids, wasn't going to be my job. The business had to go. YouTube had to go. So as I was saying, of course, the 2020-2021 school year was absolutely bananas. As teachers, educators, even administrators, they, meaning society, politicians, have been putting more and more on us with less and less time. And of course, we're not getting raises for any of this stuff. After one of the twins transitioned from basketball into track season, that was also an adjustment as well, because I also coach track. So again, with all the protocols, track meets being canceled, we had a really, really bad winter storm last year. We were closed. School was closed actually for an entire week. That's how bad it was. Power went out. Like, it was frozen from the tip of Texas all the way down to Houston. And luckily we didn't lose power or anything. We just lost the internet. So we have all kind of game boards. We just stayed in and played. But like, last year's track season was crazy as well. I had an awesome athlete who qualified for state. And of course, you always are excited when you have athletes qualify for state, especially in a state as large as Texas and as competitive as Texas. The only problem with that is, of course, it elongated my season. So I was coaching pretty much all the way to the end of the school year while attending one of the twins' track practices and her meets as well. So moving into the summertime, the summer was actually really, really nice. It was a nice relief compared to the school year, except for I just seemed really tired all the time. And I didn't do a whole lot. So like in previous summers, I had worked second jobs because, to just bring in and pay down debt, all that kind of stuff. But last summer, I just felt super tired, super overwhelmed. And I was like, maybe it's because the school year was just really, really tough and it was long, and the stress of living through a pandemic, teaching through a pandemic, having kids go through a pandemic, which, let me tell you, that in and of itself, a headache. I actually eventually had to send both of the twins back to school because this virtual life was just not for them. My youngest actually did very well, and I didn't have to send her back. Luckily, the twins got their stuff together and passed 8th grade, so I didn't have to worry about it. But the summertime, all I did a couple times a week, I held cross-country practice for my athletes, and I would take one of the twins to her, actually, both of the twins practiced last summer. So I would take the twins to their track practices, which ended up being like 3 to 4 days a week, and then the track meets on the weekends. And for whatever reason, I just didn't have the energy. Like, I felt like I didn't have the time. Now, I did go and work out. Like, I would walk sometimes 5 miles a day, but I didn't have the strength or the lung capacity to actually run at a consistent pace. So I would just walk 5 miles a day. But I was always so tired. Like, everything was a blur last summer, except for the fact that one of the twins did extremely well and missed going to nationals by like 1/10 of a second. So going into the new school year, this school year, which is 2021, 2022, again, we had no virtual, everything was in person this school year. So back to coaching cross country, the twins decided that they wanted to come to the school that I teach at. And actually that has been really, really amazing. Like, most people growing up are like, ugh, I wouldn't want to go to work where my mom teaches at, but they wanted to. And it's actually been really nice how I can spend more time with them and actually be able to see like all of their athletic stuff. I'm involved with them on a daily basis. I see them way more than I used to when I was coaching and not getting home till late. So it's been actually really, really nice. Even though I made my life easier with bringing the twins to school with me, I still was like extremely tired. But I just chalked it up to, you know, being a single parent and working full time and coaching 2 sports and, you know, just always being on the go. So like I thought it was just a normal part of life. So finally, after 8 years, oh my gosh, don't do this. Don't do what I did. I'm so embarrassed to even admit this. But after 8 long years, I finally went to the doctor. And I'm so glad that I did. It explains a lot and I feel so much better compared to how I was feeling before. So when I went to the doctor, I found out a couple of things. First thing is that I have iron deficiency anemia, and it explained a lot. Apparently my iron and hemoglobin levels were so low that they said that I should go get a blood transfusion. But I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I eventually asked for different treatment options, and the option that I actually received was iron transfusions, where basically they transfuse the iron right into your blood. But anyway, in addition to having iron deficiency anemia, which explains a lot, it explains why I was so tired. It explains why I couldn't finish my runs over the summertime, why I was short of breath. It explained my brain fog. Like I was like dead tired to the point where like I couldn't, even if I wanted to, I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the creativity to create anything like YouTube videos or shirts or just anything. So I'm so glad I got that taken care of. But they actually found the cause of it too. And after, you know, some further research, they found that I had 2 polyps, I had 1 polyp and 2 fibroids in my uterus that was causing excessive bleeding. So they recommended surgery. My surgery was scheduled for January 5th of this year, and I ended up not having it. Of course, one of the twins was playing basketball, so I was really involved in that. The other one was being a manager over basketball, so she had all these responsibilities, and part of me was like, I can't miss this much anyway. And so we're going into track season, and I'm trying to put together another state run this season. So I really didn't want to go January 5th, but it was almost like I had no choice. So needless to say, right before my surgery happens, I get COVID. And I actually tested for COVID in my pre-op stuff, and it's been pushed out to this coming summer. So I will keep you guys up to date on that and how that goes. But my iron levels are back up. My hemoglobin is back up, and it's trying to, you know, all my blood work is eventually like leveling out. But the craziness is that like I got such a flood of creativity after my iron infusions, and like I don't have brain fog like I used to anymore. I actually went out and tried running, and I could run without getting short of breath. Like, it's been great. Anyway, I am so happy that I am back to normal and I can work on my business. I have the energy to work on my business, record YouTube videos, still do my full-time job, still be a full-time mom, and do all the stuff that I was doing before, all of my health concerns and issues. So with that, that concludes today's video. And if you have any questions for me, just make a comment below. Bye. Oh, also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Later. Peace.